They will tell you success is about luck. They'll point to the lottery winners, the overnight sensations, the ones who stumbled into the spotlight, and they'll whisper, "See? It just happens." But what they won't show you, what they never want you to understand, is what lies beneath the surface. The real machinery of achievement. The unspoken patterns behind every legend you admire. Because if you knew the truth, if you truly grasped the invisible laws that govern greatness, you wouldn't just chase success, you would command it. The truth is, success is never an accident. It is the deliberate, often painful, always intentional result of how you think, how you believe, how you persist when the world says quit. And most of all, it's who you become in the process. They didn't tell you this because it makes you powerful. They didn't teach this in school because a liberated mind is a dangerous thing. Because the second you realize you don't need permission, the second you realize you are the author of your own reality, you become unstoppable. This is not about motivation. It's not about empty mantras or fleeting hype. This is about the truth. The raw, unpolished, inconvenient truth. That you were born with power. But somewhere along the way, it was buried under doubt, under distraction, under the expectations of people who stopped believing in themselves a long time ago. So now, you wake up in a world where average is sold as normal. Where mediocrity is rewarded and conformity is praised. But deep down, something inside you aches to break free. And you're not crazy for feeling that. You're not broken for wanting more. You are simply remembering who you really are. Because every empire begins in the mind of a single human being who refuses to settle. And the world has never been changed by those who play it safe. Edison failed over 10,000 times before lighting the world. Carnegie was a poor Scottish immigrant before he became the steel king of America. Disney was laughed out of studios for being unoriginal. Henry Ford was ridiculed for thinking every man could afford a car. Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he freed a nation. None of them were lucky. They were relentless. And here's what they knew, what they practiced religiously, what Napoleon Hill captured in Think and Grow Rich long before the world caught on. Thoughts become things. What you plant in the soil of your mind, watered with belief and nourished with discipline, grows into the life you live. Every thought is a seed. Every belief is a blueprint. And every action is a chisel striking stone, carving the reality you will eventually walk into. So if you feel stuck, if you feel behind, if you feel like success always belongs to someone else, don't look outside. Look inward. You are not a product of your environment. You are a product of your expectations. And the moment you expect more, demand more, become more, you start to shift. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. That's the real secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So if you want success, you must become it. You must think like the person who already has it. Feel like the person who lives in it. Walk, talk, breathe, move, decide like the future version of you who's already made it. Not someday. Not when it's convenient. Now. Because the clock is ticking. And every second you spend waiting, doubting, hesitating, is a second stolen by fear. Fear is the great thief of destiny. But you don't have to let it win. Because the truth about success is this: it doesn't belong to the smartest, the strongest, or the most connected. It belongs to the most committed. To the ones who burn their excuses and build their character in the fire of discipline. To the ones who rise before the world wakes up. Who sacrifice comfort for clarity. Who choose vision over validation. Success belongs to those who decide, not wish, not hope, decide that they will not die with their potential still locked inside them. And that begins here. Now. With a choice. To wake up. To break free of the mental chains you were handed. To stop asking for permission to be powerful. To stop waiting for the right time and start becoming the right person. Because here's what they don't want you to know. The right time doesn't exist. You make it right by showing up in total alignment with your purpose, your belief, and your willingness to do whatever it takes. And if you can do that, if you can look in the mirror and declare, "I will not betray my potential another day," then success is no longer a question. It becomes your responsibility. It becomes your birthright. You have to understand something fundamental, something most never grasp. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you become aligned with. You don't chase it. You rise to meet it. But that rise is not glamorous. It's not posted on Instagram. It's not celebrated by those around you, at least not at first. Because the path to true greatness is lonely. Brutal. Silent. It asks everything of you. And it gives nothing in return until you've earned it. You will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. And if you're doing it right, you'll be feared not because you hurt people, but because your conviction will remind them of the dreams they gave up on. You will become a mirror. And when your reflection shows others what discipline looks like, what purpose sounds like, what relentless pursuit feels like, they'll either rise with you or retreat from you. That's the price of walking this road. But you weren't born to fit in. You were born to build. And builders don't seek approval. They lay bricks in silence, while the world watches in confusion until one day, that vision becomes a kingdom. But here's what separates the successful from the spectators. Clarity. Not talent. Not intelligence. Not family legacy. Clarity. The kind of clarity that pierces through distractions like a sword. The kind of clarity that lets you say no when everyone else is begging you to say yes to mediocrity. The kind that helps you see the invisible long before the world ever acknowledges it's real. When Walt Disney stared at a swamp in Central Florida, he didn't see mud. He saw Magic Kingdom. When Steve Jobs held a chunk of metal and glass, he didn't see a phone. He saw a revolution. When Napoleon Hill studied 500 of the world's greatest minds, he didn't see coincidence. He saw law. He saw structure. He saw truth. That's the difference. Clarity turns chaos into creation. And if you don't know who you are, what you stand for, and what you're building, you will spend your life serving the vision of someone who does. This world will use you, your energy, your time, your potential, if you do not claim it for yourself. So ask yourself right now. What are you building? What are you here for? And how much longer will you allow distractions to rob you of the very reason you exist? Because if you don't take control of your mind, the world will. And the world is not kind to dreamers without direction. You must declare your vision with conviction. Not just to others, but to yourself. You must be able to close your eyes and see the life you were born to live, not vaguely, not someday, but vividly, like a memory of the future. Because the mind doesn't differentiate between what's imagined and what's real. It only responds to intensity and repetition. So feed it daily. Feed it vision, not television. Feed it truth, not trends. Feed it faith, not fear. And once you've locked in that vision, you move like it's already done. You speak like it's already yours. You behave like the person who already achieved it, not like someone begging for it to happen. Because success doesn't come to the one who wants it bad enough. It comes to the one who becomes it, piece by piece, decision by decision, day after unforgiving day. That's the truth they don't want you to know. They want you distracted. They want you doubting. They want you scrolling, wishing, watching, not acting. Because the moment you act, the illusion breaks. And the system that profits from your stagnation starts to crumble. This isn't just about making money. This is about reclaiming your mind. Because your mind is the battlefield. And every thought is a soldier. Either it's working for you, or against you. And the enemy is subtle. It whispers lies disguised as logic. Be realistic. Don't aim too high. You're too late. You're too old. You're not ready. That voice? It's not truth. It's programming. It was installed by a society built on limitation. But just because you were given a script doesn't mean you have to follow it. You can rewrite it. You can rise above it. You can choose belief over fear, faith over doubt, action over excuses. Right now, you have a decision to make. To stay in the familiar cage of comfort, or step into the unknown terrain of your potential. One feels safe, but leads to regret. The other feels dangerous, but leads to destiny. So what will you choose? Will you betray the calling on your soul just to feel temporary comfort? Or will you burn the ships, silence the fear, and build the life that's been calling you since the moment you took your first breath? Because make no mistake, your potential is calling you by name. It's not shouting. It never does. It whispers in the silence between your distractions. It speaks in the quiet hours, when the world goes dark and your soul starts to stir. And it asks you one thing. When will you stop running from who you were meant to become? Not who they told you to be. Not who you learned to be. But the real you. The unfiltered, unapologetic, undeniable force of nature you were before the world tamed you. You see, success isn't about adding things to your life. It's about stripping away the lies. The lie that says you need to be chosen. The lie that says you need a degree, a title, a sponsor. The lie that says you're behind, broken, or not enough. You were born with everything you need. But that greatness, it's buried beneath years of conditioning. And the only way to awaken it is through discipline. That word, discipline, it scares people. Because it means sacrifice. It means saying no. It means delay, discomfort, and doing things you don't feel like doing. But what no one tells you is this. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is what breaks the cycle of average. Discipline is what turns pain into purpose. Discipline is what allows you to say, I will not live one more day beneath my potential. Because let's be honest, most people already know what they need to do. But they don't do it. Not because they're lazy. But because their mind has been trained to worship comfort and avoid uncertainty. That's the real virus, mental weakness disguised as self-care. And the cure isn't more information. It's not another book, another course, another guru. It's execution. It's waking up early when your body begs to sleep. It's showing up when no one is watching. It's doing the work when there's no applause, no praise, no recognition, just you versus you. That's where success is forged. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not when it's easy, but when it's unbearable. Not when the world believes in you, but when you're the only one who does. Look around you, every truly successful person has walked through fire. They've been laughed at, rejected, ignored, broken. But they never gave up. Because they weren't addicted to results, they were addicted to becoming. And that's the shift you must make. Stop chasing success like it's a finish line. Start becoming the kind of person success can't ignore. You do that by mastering the day. Not tomorrow. Today. You do it by winning the hour you're in, not by worrying about the months ahead, but by dominating the minute in front of you. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you can't win the battle of today, you'll never win the war of your life. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. You don't need more strategy. You need more self-command. And that starts with one question. What are you willing to suffer for? Because suffering is inevitable. But suffering with purpose? That's how you transcend. If you're going to struggle, make it count. Struggle for your vision. Struggle for your future. Struggle for the life that will make your younger self proud and your older self grateful. Stop trying to avoid the pain. Choose it. Direct it. Channel it. Because pain, when aimed with purpose, becomes power. And the world makes way for those who've mastered their pain, not avoided it. So rise up. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Move your body like every step is chiseling a legacy. Speak your truth like the world needs your voice, because it does. This isn't a game. This is your life. And there is no next round. There is only now. And now is where champions are made. You must understand this once and for all. Success doesn't happen someday. Success doesn't arrive at your doorstep with a bow and a blessing. Success is summoned. It is called forth by the one who is bold enough to demand it, through relentless action, unshakable belief, and an obsession with becoming the person worthy of the dream. You want the truth about success they never taught you? It's this. You don't get what you want, you get what you must have. What your soul refuses to live without. What you're willing to bleed for. What you're willing to lose sleep for. What you're willing to be ridiculed, rejected, and misunderstood for. The universe doesn't respond to weak wishes. It responds to non-negotiable standards. And most people? They wish. They hope. They dabble. But they never decide. And in the absence of decision, life decides for them. It hands them scraps instead of significance. It gives them routine instead of rain. It offers them survival instead of sovereignty. But you weren't born for survival. You weren't built to blend in, to dim your light, to swallow your potential and call it humility. You were born to become a force. A force so fierce in your discipline, so pure in your intention, so committed in your action that success has no choice but to kneel at your feet. You are the storm they never saw coming. The outlier. The exception. The one who refused to be programmed. So stop playing small. Stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop waiting for someone to come save you. You are not here to be saved. You are here to save yourself. Every second you spend doubting yourself, you rob the world of the light you were meant to give it. And there's not a single soul on this planet who can do what you were specifically crafted to do. Not with your voice. Not with your fire. Not with your divine fingerprint of purpose. You think your dreams are random? Your dreams are assignments. Your desires are blueprints. Your vision is a spiritual contract signed in the ink of destiny, waiting for your signature of discipline. And yes, the path will test you. There will be days you question it all. Nights where doubt feels louder than purpose. Seasons where nothing makes sense. But lean in. Because that's the threshold. That's where 99% quit. That's where they turn around and say, maybe this isn't for me. But not you. You weren't built to quit. You weren't designed for mediocrity. You weren't given this vision to abandon it in the dark. You were given this mountain so you could teach others how to move them. And you do that by becoming the example. Not the talker. The doer. Not the dreamer. The builder. You do it by waking up every single day with fire in your belly and steel in your spine. You do it by mastering your thoughts, commanding your emotions, and owning your presence. Because at the end of this life, you will not be judged by what you intended to do. You will be remembered by what you built. And make no mistake, every decision you make, every day you dominate, every hour you command, is brick by brick, the cathedral of your legacy. So choose power. Choose discipline. Choose your calling over your comfort. The world doesn't need more passive souls. It needs you fully awakened, fully armed, fully locked in. And if you can rise, if you can refuse to settle for anything less than the extraordinary, then the truth they never wanted you to know becomes yours to live. Success is not given. It is created. By the few who dare to believe. By the few who dare to act. By the few who refuse to die with their greatness still buried inside them. You are one of the few. Now go prove it. And now that you've heard the truth, the real truth, you can never go back to who you were. You've crossed a line. Not the kind written in ink, but in fire. And from this point on, your silence will haunt you louder than your fear ever did. Because once your eyes are open to your potential, your excuses lose their power. No more hiding. No more shrinking. No more pretending that you don't feel that ancient flame inside you flickering, pulsing, screaming to be unleashed. Do you feel it? That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That is your power, waking up from its coma. And now the question is simple. Will you answer the call, or will you numb it again? They won't understand your hunger. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're obsessed. They'll say you're too much. Good. Let them talk. Because you weren't put here to make them comfortable. You were put here to remind them what's possible. You were put here to rise so unapologetically, to shine so defiantly, that your existence becomes a permission slip for others to finally believe in their own power. And that is the ultimate success. Not the cars. Not the cash. Not the claps. But the transformation. The version of you that used to doubt, dead. The version of you that needed validation, buried. The version of you that betrayed your purpose for convenience, gone. In their place, a titan. Forged in fire. Tempered by failure. Crowned by consistency. That's what success really is. It's not a destination. It's not a bank balance. It's not even the applause. It's the becoming. It's the process of turning your thoughts into truth. Of pulling your vision from the invisible realm into the world of form. Of walking into a room and needing no introduction, because your energy announces you before you speak. That's what they didn't want you to know. That you've had the keys all along. That the chains were never real. That the gate to greatness was never locked, it was waiting. Waiting for you to believe. Waiting for you to move. Waiting for you to stop asking how, and start deciding now. And when you do, when you finally stop doubting, stop delaying, and start dominating, everything changes. Because success doesn't come to those who need it. It comes to those who refuse to live without it. So rise. Build the vision. Walk in purpose. Speak with conviction. Move with faith. And above all, never forget who you are. You are not average. You are not a follower. You are not here to blend in. You are a creator. A builder. A disruptor. A leader. And your life, your one life, will become a message. Make it a loud one. Make it a legacy. Make it the proof that you knew the truth, and you had the courage to live it.